Alright, so I'm going to explain resistance and how to use them in GW and pretty much against any matchup. Hopefully I can explain exactly how they work and why they can pretty much take on anybody, even people who seem to have strong anti-synergies against them. People like Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum is one who's probably the hardest, and she's not even that hard. So I'm just going to go through my resistance and show you exactly what they have, what is all that's needed, really. Like the minimum requirements for you to be able to go through any galactic war, no matter how much difficulty you're having with it, and just go through it with a breeze. And then I'll just go through my galactic war and show you how it gets done. So for starters, you have to have a Zeta on Finn's balance tactics, his leader ability right here. This is the key to the whole thing. If you don't have this, you can't do pretty much anything that I'm going to be talking about. So it's also recommended that you take his Omega on his takedown. It just gives it 100. It goes from pretty sure, yeah, 85% chance to expose to 100% chance to expose. Increases the chance that it'll stun. It's the only ability that has a 100% chance to expose, and so it's really important that you have that one as well. The next most important one to get is Poe Dameron. You're going to want to get his Resistance Bravado special, which is his taunt ability. You're going to want to get that all the way maxed out. That's just an Omega. It increases his exposed chance and then inflicts buff immunity. Buff immunity is super important for dealing with certain characters, auto taunters, things like that. So it's very important that you also get that one fully Omega'd. And then I go with Resistance Trooper. Resistance Trooper is very important as well. He's the only one who has an expose on his basic. You're going to want to, again, max that out. Just get it to the max expose chance. And I'd also recommend Guerrilla Tactics. Get it as high as you can. It doesn't have an Omega or anything, so if you have enough Mark 3s and all that, you can just get it up to level 7. But this really helps him go often. It makes it so that Resistance Trooper has 10% potency and gains 55% turn meter whenever an enemy becomes exposed. So each time somebody else puts an expose on an enemy, that's when he gets extra turn meter. And normally the thing with Finn's leader ability is they don't get turn meter until they get a until the expose has been popped, until somebody's attacked them after the expose has been put on them. So Resistance Trooper is going to go a lot more often with that fully upgraded, and it's very important. With R2D2, you don't have to max anything on him, but if you're going to max anything, I would recommend that you max out his Electro Prod. Just because getting a stun on some people is very helpful and useful. But honestly, I barely ever use his basic or his improvise on this team. Most of the time, I use Smokescreen. So if you only want to Omega one thing on him, just go for a Smokescreen. It brings his cooldown 1 less, which can be sometimes helpful, but on this team you'll see you don't need to worry too much about cooldowns, and you don't really care about the advantage. That doesn't matter, but just getting the cooldown down a little bit is good. And then, yeah, you want to get Okay, so you definitely want to get it at least to 7 because you don't want that stealth chance to be a chance for giving people stealth. You want everybody who you want stealth to be stealth. So it's going to be important for counterattacks and things like that. So at least get that to 7. 8 is recommended, but you don't have to Omega if you don't have the resources. Now I have BB-8, and not everybody's going to have BB-8, but if you have him, definitely use him. He doesn't need everything maxed out at all. This covert data transfer, I could Omega. I'm not going to. It only really helps droids, so I have no reason to fully max that out. So just a 7 is fine for me. I would suggest Omega-ing his arc welder, because then that's gonna give him the ability to also do days, which is gonna be pretty important at times. Not always, but it's useful in some of the harder levels I've found. Again, I've been doing this without BB-8 obviously for a while since he just came out. Also, Illuminated Decimate. This is only an Omega. It's not a Zeta. And so I would definitely recommend going for that. Now, if you don't have BB-8, then you're going to want to do Resistance Pilot. And on Resistance Pilot, you're going to want to Omega his outmaneuver. This just increases the exposed chance. Again, this is his ability that gives expose. And as you can see, most of them that give expose is just a 65% chance. So it's not going to happen every time, but it does happen quite often. And as long as it's Omega, it's often enough that it's significant. So I don't know if you need this one. Not really. You know, he goes a little bit faster if anybody ever attacks, but that rarely happens. And in fact, you may not want it because it increases his critical chance, which honestly, you kind of want low critical chance with this team, to be honest. Just because you don't end up triggering some of the things you come across in GW, such as a Rex lead and things like that. So I'm going to go here into my Galactic War, and I'm just going to run through it. This is going to be a super easy team. Sometimes Savage Oppress can be an issue. Boba Fett, you just need to make sure that you kill him the first time. You know, and I'll explain kind of, you want to end each of your turns in the GW, maximizing the amount of turn meter that your resistance team has. And I'll show you how to do that. So we're just going to go into this. And again, I might occasionally switch out BB-8. Sometimes I'll switch them out with Raid Han, because Raid Han gets to go first no matter what. But you'll see that it often doesn't matter. Like if I'm against a Raid Han, which I'll probably face 1 or 2 in this GW, my resistance team should have 100% turn meter and oftentimes get to go before the Raid Han does. So sometimes I will put a Raid Han in though if I'm having particular difficulty or anything like that. And then you can also, again, you can run with Resistance Trooper if you don't have BB-8. And I'll do a couple games actually with Resistance Trooper just to show you it doesn't make much of a difference. And then I'll do the later end with BB-8. I'll do like the first 3 here with Resistance Trooper. Alright, so let's go into this. Or that's actually Resistance Pilot. I get them mixed up, but whatever. And so the reason that Resistance works really well in GW is that you start out facing weaker teams, basically. So you can actually do this Resistance team with basically a minimum, like a fairly minimal team in general. and not have too much difficulty, as long as you're ending each of your turns in the correct way. So again, I'm going to use Smokescreen pretty much every time I'm going to throw it on Poe. And then Poe, I'm always going to try and use his taunt ability here. So the reason I put it on Poe is just because he's going to taunt and he's going to be out of stealth anyways. Also, he never does an attack, so I don't have to worry about counter attacks when I'm on Poe's turn. Rarely. Sometimes if I don't get the cooldowns down enough, then I have an issue. But right now we can see that got 2 exposes. Again, it's only a 65% chance, so, you know, so these 3 didn't reach that chance, or maybe 1 or 2 of them did, but then they resisted it with their tenacity versus his potency. So I'm just going to attack the people with exposes on them. And what that does is that uses Finn's ability, and now everybody's cooldowns got reduced by 1, so R2 and Poe are the only ones who had any cooldowns. And both of those went down by 1, so this one's probably at 2, this one's probably at 2. And then because I used Resistance Troopers, who was that? I'm pretty sure that was Resistance Troopers. I used his basic attack, which has a chance to apply expose, so it reapplied an expose and then gave all my guys turn meter and reduced their cooldowns. So now I'm going to use Resistance Pilot's attack that has a chance to put expose, and again, expose is put on, everybody's turn meter went up, and it's a significant amount. It's 35%, I believe, each time. And their cooldowns are down again. So this, now Poe is down to 1 and R2's stealth is down to 1. So I'm going to try and do it again. I'd like to not kill Chewbacca here. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, so I want him right here in the yellow. Sometimes the red is okay. And then I want to try and avoid doing any damage to Chewbacca for now. And I'll explain why I'm doing that later. So again, just using Smokescreen. I don't really need to. Resistance Trooper might have been out of stealth. He goes a lot more often, so he sometimes is out of stealth. So there we go again. Now he's got 2 exposes on him. And see, his cooldown was completely down, and so was R2's, because we were hitting exposes the whole time leading up to their next turn. So now Finn is going. I'm gonna take out Mace Windu's there, and even though he has a 100% chance to apply an expose on that one, he didn't apply an expose, and that's probably because his potency is either not strong enough to overcome his tenacity. It's technically a random roll, like so. So if Poe has 65% chance and he has 70% chance, then there's still some room. It's not like he will always not be receive the expose if his tenacity is just a little bit higher. But there's also always, no matter how much potency you have, there's always a 15% chance, no matter what, that something won't happen, any detrimental effect. So we're already back to R2, and he doesn't have his smoke screen up. So what I'm going to do, since Mace Windu is got no more protection, I'm just going to hit him with a stun. It doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to also try and get him down again. About yellow to red is where I want him. And again, I'll show you why that is here at the end of the battle. So every time I can, I'm going to try and hit exposes. Like those couple of times I didn't hit exposes, you can not hit it for a couple turns, but if you keep doing that, eventually these guys are going to start taking turns. But right now we're in a cycle where where my Resistance Trooper and Poe both have 100% turn meter. So I can hit another expose. This created an expose, which made my Resistance Trooper go faster again. and made it so that everybody's turn meter went up. So now when I hit these two exposes, pretty much everybody's going to be at 100% turn meter as well. So there we go. Everybody except for the Poe who just went is at 100% turn meter. So now when you're facing Savage Opress, you should know that every time he takes damage, he gains turn meter. And in this team, it's not too big of a deal, but in a Sith team, it can be a real problem because he also, when he takes his turn, even if he's stunned or anything, he has a chance to take on any debuffs from any other Sith. I think he will take on a debuff from another Sith at a point, but at this low of a level, he probably doesn't even have that. But there's no other Sith on here, so I'm not actually worried. So I'm going to damage him, but I'm going to try and make sure that he's stunned each time his turn meter gets up enough so that he can go. And at this point, he's low enough that I'm not going to hit him anymore. And now we'll go after Boba Fett. And again, Boba Fett right now is the only one who I'm going to kill, and that's because he has an auto revive. So I'm just going to force that auto revive, and then he'll come back, and we're going to try and get an expose on him if we can. That's good. Okay, now see here, this is the situation where we want to end each battle, or as close to it as we can get. So another good thing about R2-D2 is he's the only character that's a resistance that has an area of effect damage. So so I'm just going to use his, I think this is improvisation or something, and I'm going to pop all of these exposes and hopefully kill everybody in one shot. So there we go. Everybody's dead. And what that did was it popped all of the exposes, which gives all of my my entire team 100% turn meter. So as I go into this next battle, it doesn't matter what kind of team it's composed of, because no matter what, I'm starting out with 100% turn meter. So if you're using this team in arena, you want to try and get Poe Dameron's speed up as high as possible, and make sure that he's the first one to go anytime you take a fight in the arena. And that's because he has the AoE expose, and then that expose also removes turn meter. So I don't know if you noticed, but at the end of that battle, none of the other team had hardly any turn meter except for Savage Opress, or I think it's Savage. I always say Savage. But only Savage had turn meter, just because he has that unique that every time he takes damage he gains turn meter. But yeah, and so now into this battle, I didn't even pay attention who was on it. We'll see once we get in. My entire team's going to have 100% turn meter, and it'll be random who goes first, but it doesn't really matter to me. As long as I start getting exposes on people, it doesn't matter too much that, you know, that which order it goes in. So it can matter somewhat if you're against for example, a Rebel team with Commander Luke Skywalker. If it's a full Rebel team, which is really rare to see in GW, honestly, then, you know, if you're attacking somebody, they have a chance to counterattack. So that can be a little annoying, and you'd prefer it if R2 could go first. But, you know, other than that, so here we got an expose from Finn's thing, which again has a 100% chance. And then also Poe applied buff immunity. Again, it doesn't matter too much here. Chewie's not an auto taunter, but you know, if I allowed them to go any turns, then he might end up taunting, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so if it's early, I will sometimes use, and there's no counter attackers. I'll use improvise early on, just because that popped a couple of exposes, which is good. But also this burn. Now, if I ever need to use R2's basic, it does a bit more damage. So I'll sometimes do that early if I'm not worried about knocking anybody out. So again, we're going to start trying to put on exposes here. And she's in the yellow, so I'll keep her there. I'll go ahead and stealth because I don't need damage on anybody right now. Expose. More exposes. So again, he doesn't have anything but improvise, but I don't want to kill off these two guys yet because we want to say that was a little not great, but it's okay. We should still basically the magic number at the end is you want 3 at least for the last kill, and so that can actually all be on one person. So if everything goes really bad, I can just leave Luminari here and kill her last. So in fact, maybe I'll just show that off because it looks like nobody else really has an expose. So I'm gonna kill Savage because he's technically at 100% turn meter here, and I just don't want him to go. Finn's basic attack does extra damage the first time it hits a person, so it's a really good execute ability. So yeah, so now I could do burn, but there's actually a chance that Chewie might survive it. It's low, but it just depends on what his resistances are and things like that. So, yeah, so we're just going to go. And now, most of my team isn't at 100% turn meter, but with 3 exposes, and actually, the worst person to end on is usually Poe here. No, Finn. No, Poe. I'm mixing up their names. Just because ideally he would go first. He's the most ideal first person to go, even above R2, just because he reduces their turn meter if you're against a Raid Han or anything like that. And it's not an attack, so you don't have to worry about people who counterattack. But it's not a bit too big of a deal. With 3 exposes, he should get up to about 50%, and everybody else should get around, or should be at 100% for sure. So we'll just do that, 100%, and even he ended at 100%. For some reason, at the end, if it's 3 exposes, there seems to be a chance where the person who did the attack won't gain all of the turn meter from the exposes. I'm not exactly sure what that is. If it's 4, it doesn't matter. They'll get enough to be at 100%. But for some reason 3, it's not always 100%. I don't know why. So here we're against kind of a rebel team. There's one counterattack right here with 5s. So we'll have to be careful with that. But other than that, we're still going to have no problems here. So, and I'm going to start going through these battles a little bit quicker. And then just once I bring in BB-8, I'll just show the differences in play style with BB-8. But there is another thing with Biggs. You do have to worry a little bit about if you get a critical hit on him, then he's gonna go. So again, ideally you will hit him with while he has an expose on him, or you could try and hit him with something that stuns. I don't want to do it now because I'd want Finn to be able to go right after. Am I saying these names right? No, this is Finn. I'd want Poe to go right after. Anyway, so since I'm stealth, I have no chance of being counterattacked by fives. So you just have to keep track of that whenever. So see now, Resistance Trooper is no longer stealth. So if he went again, I wouldn't want to attack fives, even though he has the expose and it would be the best person to go after. I would avoid it anyways, just because I don't want a chance for fives to just go crazy. He would put speed down on my Resistance Trooper and all kinds of stuff that I just don't want. Um, so we'll keep hitting fives. He's kind of the strongest. So now that Biggs is exposed, and I'm on an ability that can stun. I think it's 80%. I think also R2's fully upgraded basic is also 80%. Those are pretty good chances. So I'm just gonna go for it. So he got stunned, but he also got 100% turn meter because I had a critical hit on him. So there's a chance he might go, but then he's stunned, so it doesn't matter. So we'll keep going. And now you'll see the turn meter go down because I'm going to use Poe's ability here. And I like to spread out buff immunity. It doesn't matter which character you're selected on too much. See there, the turn meter goes down. In certain situations it matters a lot, but most of the time I just like spreading out buff immunity just in case. You know, who knows? Sometimes I have a bad game and for some reason people start going and then I have to worry about people being buffed up, but not if I spread out my buff immunity. So again, we're just getting everybody kind of low, but not dead. So yeah, okay. Alright, and see there, everybody had a chance to go just a little bit because I didn't hit any exposes on that last turn. You tend to get into a cycle where you just keep hitting exposes and your guys keep going and these guys just never get a chance to go. So I have 3 exposes here. I'd like to keep going and put a few more exposes if I can, but if not, I'm just going to kill off the people without exposes first. So now I'm going to try and force, I'm hoping that I'm going to use a non-attack ability right here. This ability is also useful because fully upgraded, it can cleanse the entire team, but it also gives health to Poe, who is the most likely to take damage because he's taunting pretty much the whole time. He's the one who R2 gives the foresight but no stealth to. So it's actually decent to upgrade this fully, but I'm just going to use it so that I don't kill these guys because I'd rather kill them all at once here with R2. Because then that's going to give my guys 100% turn meter, as you saw there at the end. So that's the basic idea with this team, and that's why they're just so strong in Galactic War and in territory battles, because you can just keep manipulating the enemy team from ever going by keeping your guys going with exposes and stuff like that. So now I'm going to switch out BB-8, put him in. Obviously he's not going to start with any turn meter, but it's not too big of a deal because he'll start getting it fairly quickly as my team puts exposes down. So yeah, and BB-8 is actually a great addition to this team. His daze is really powerful. He makes it really easy to just kind of go through teams. He has tenacity down on his basic, and he has daze on his basic. So if they already have tenacity down, then they get daze. And then the unique buff that he sends out also gives everybody plus 25% potency. So you don't have to worry as much about how much potency your team has when he's around because he just is able to give it out to everybody. So K2SO and Count Dooku both have counterattacks. Um, Kylo Ren is another unique case for the Resistance because exposes normally. I don't remember the exact amount. I think it's 20% of your health every time an expose is hit. Let's see if it'll tell me. Loses 20% health if damaged by an attack. So that's based on their max health, not like their health plus protection or anything like that. So, but either way, that means if you have 5 exposes on somebody and they have no protection, then they're guaranteed to die. But with Kylo Ren, he takes reduced damage from percent health attacks, and it's actually very significant for Resistance. If you're not aware of that, then he can essentially be the last person alive, and you'll barely be doing any damage to him for so long that your team will just kind of end that turn without getting a chance to pop multiple exposes. So that's why it's important to know that. I'm going to throw a buff immunity on K2SO because he has a counter chance, a chance to counter, and then every time he attacks, he has a chance to taunt, which can throw things off a bit. So that's the main reason. So since Kylo Ren has an expose, I'm just going to start attacking him. And as you can see, he takes less damage. I mean, maybe you don't notice, but you'd notice if you play this team a lot. So yeah, it's pretty significant, the amount of reduced damage he takes. And it's possible that this Kylo Ren at only level 75 that he doesn't have that unique ability upgraded that much. I don't usually check out all their stuff beforehand, so whatever. Yeah. So while he has exposes, I'm just going to keep attacking him. Either as long as he has exposes and somebody else who can put exposes on has 100% turn meter, that's basically what's going to determine how long I'm attacking him. If he drops his exposes and I only have, the guy who I'm currently on that has 100% turn meter to apply exposes, I will try and attack somebody else just so we don't get out of this routine of gaining turn meter. It's really important to stay in that because a couple mistakes can lead to just having to restart the whole battle. So again, BB-8 has this nice little unique, so I rarely ever use him to attack. It's not really needed. That has 0 cooldown, so even if he wasn't on a resistance team, it'd be up all the time anyways. So I just use it to boost their stats, which again is plus 25% potency, which is really useful. So keep throwing down exposes. So he doesn't have an expose, and my 2 exposers don't have 100% turn meter. So instead I'm going to attack K2SO, which is going to give me a lot of turn meter since he had 3 exposes on him. And then there we go. Everybody's up to 100% turn meter. So I'm going to wait a minute for Kylo. Hopefully we can get another one on him. Again, I'm spreading out buff immunity. Not necessary, but I think it's useful in case you make a mistake. So now he's got an expose from Poe's AoE expose, and so we're going to start attacking Kylo again. And ideally, we'll just kill off Kylo. So some of these people who have resistances against against the resistance. Um, it's best if you just kill them off before you do your ending turn of killing everybody. Okay. We're getting close to the end, so I was just getting these guys a little bit lower, so I don't have to worry about them. So BB-8s, I forget what this is called, but this one also has a chance to expose everybody. I think it's 100% chance, but of course, and it's unavoidable, which means they can't dodge it. But it still has a chance to be resisted because of that 15% chance. And I'm not sure if there's a potency tenacity check on that, but there's at least always a 15% chance that it will be resisted. So here we go. And Kylo Ren now is low enough. I'm going to start attacking with BB-8. BB-8's damage is actually pretty decent. So there we go. Everybody's dead. 3 exposes on Captain Phasma, and she's just above 50% health. And again, because exposes get rid of 20% health, 3 exposes are going to get rid of 60% health. She's plus the damage that the actual ability does. So I shouldn't have any issue with any of these guys dying. They should all die to R2-D2's AoE. So there we go. All dead. And again, everybody's at full turn meter because of that. So, alright. Alright, I'm going to go through these next few battles pretty quickly. Okay. So, again, the only issue on this one is going to be Biggs again. So I'm going to play around him a little bit. If he has enough life, I might even have BB-8 daze him. I don't always do that just because, like I said, BB-8's damage is decent, and yeah, I mean, like this Biggs would survive 2 attacks from BB-8, but I think it's a low enough life that I'm actually going to get far more value out of just using BB-8's special instead. And the reason I don't use R2, even if I'm not worried about counterattacks, is that since he doesn't apply expose on anything, doing damage to guys is not all that useful, because see, he pops the expose, which gives me turn meter, but then he doesn't have a new expose for me to exploit. And so ideally I don't really want to do that too often. We're just going to do that. I did it on Biggs there just because, I was hoping for a stun, which I got. And yeah, so again, we're just going to pop exposes whenever possible. This team shouldn't be any kind of issue. So this one's a little dangerous. I have a lot of turn meter, so I'm actually going to wait on that, just because actually this is an interesting, no, I thought that was, never mind, I thought that was critical hit immunity. I wish it was critical hit immunity. In fact, I wish there was some sort of person who put critical hit immunity on enemies, because that could be super useful against certain teams, and I think it would be a lot of fun to play with. It seems weird to put on a buff, but like Thrawn puts on speed up buff, which then gets turned into a ability block. So see, I haven't been popping enough exposes, and so These guys got about 50% turn meter, which is kind of significant. My guys are pretty close. I'm gonna pop this exposed just to make sure that they're not gonna go anymore. And hopefully, yeah, they're probably gonna get to go a little bit before Poe. Who do I want to attack? So again, I'm trying to get... Okay, so now we're kind of in a not great situation. So we're going to try and pop exposes. We're killing people. Again, we want to keep enough around so that... Okay, we're really close to BB-8's thing. That's gonna kill her, so there's no real point to that. So I'm just gonna do that to give myself more turn meter. Everybody's at 100% turn meter. I'm keeping Han alive pretty much as long as I can because he's the last one with expose. I'm actually gonna use this because in GW, things that start on cooldown, any abilities that start on cooldown, they won't carry over to the next battle anyway, so it'd be a waste not to use it. But also, hopefully I can get at least one more expose on here, which will then set up my guys for next turn. It's not going to be great, but it'll be better than just having one expose. So that was actually decent, and that's because it also gave everybody turn meter. I forgot about that. So this is 2 exposes, and I don't know the cooldown on this, so I'm just going to use his basic to pop those, just so I don't have a chance where he might not have that ability in the next round. So we came out of there okay, but that's the kind of situations you can get into where the next battle becomes much harder because you didn't properly set up the end of your battle. And so I've watched a few YouTubes on how resistance is so good and all that, but they don't really explain that kind of stuff on the YouTube ones that I've seen. So that's basically what I'm doing here, is just trying to explain, not only show, yeah, they're good, they can take on anybody no matter what they are, but also you can't just do it mindlessly. You got to think about it and actually know what you're doing. So see here, we're not in a great situation where Poe's thing is on cooldown. Obviously I don't want to hit Count Dooku because he has a 100% counter chance. Yeah, at level 85, almost certainly. And we're gonna just avoid Count Dooku, honestly, until we can at least get everybody cloaked like that. So honestly, I'm probably gonna want to kill Ewok Elder, just because he has a chance of everybody being revived. Well, not everybody, but each person has a chance of being revived by a unique on Ewok Elder's thing. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's the same thing with the Night Sister. I can't remember her name. I don't remember. But yeah, she has a chance to also bring back anybody who dies, and it's a random chance, but just because of it, we want to try and avoid it. And so they got a little bit of turn meter there because, again, Finn wasn't exactly matched up with everybody else. Everybody else had 100%, and Finn didn't, because he did that last attack and it wasn't 3 or more, so it didn't get him fully back to 100% turn meter. But it's okay. We're just gonna keep going. It'd be good to get a stun on Count Dooku. That way I don't have to be worried anymore about him counterattacking if I forget to have somebody in stealth and attack him. So, okay. Yeah, so let's take out Ewok Elder. See if we can take him out completely. And then after Ewok Elder, I'm going to want to try and work on Savage. Again, just because he gains that turn meter. Actually, what I'm probably going to do, yeah, I'll probably do that right next time BB-8 goes, is I'm gonna daze him with BB-8. And so this is, ooh, I'm actually gonna use this first, but next time BB-8 comes around, which should be soon because this will give them all a ton of turn meter. Then I'm gonna start basic attacking Savage here. So unfortunately we didn't get the tenacity down, so it's going to be at least 2 more times that I have to attack him before we get it. I'm going to try and do not great. Okay, I'm not going to attack him right now. Okay, let's try and get that stun on him. Stun. Okay, so again, it's still not great. This is pretty much a Sith team. His turn meter is going to go down right now because I have Poe going. But a couple things. Every time he gets every time I get a critical hit on him, he's going to remove all of his debuffs here, which includes the stun and which includes the buff immunity. And he's going to gain turn meter because he's taking damage. So see that he got rid of the stun and buff immunity, no exposes, and he didn't even, it's even possible that he might have gotten tenacity down right then, but then just cleansed it because BB-8 critically striked. So I'm just going to kill him right now. I'm going to use Resistance Trooper's special ability. It won't put an expose on him, but it will clear these buffs, which should hopefully allow me to get enough damage through his, not his, I want Savage, through his extra defense there. To be able to kill him, which it should. It does plenty of damage, and he was really low. So that's why I went after him second. Was I didn't want him to get revived if I went after him, but also you don't want to leave him for last because he has those annoying things that make it so that it's hard to set him up to be the last kill, or even part of the last few kills, when you're trying to get a good reset on your turn meter. So not great again. It means that Poe is going to be a little bit behind and R2 is going to be a little bit behind, but it should be okay still. Everybody else is already at 100% turn meter, so, and you can't always set up things perfectly, so you just do the best you can with how your turns turn out. But if you're not aware of it, you can mess it up completely. Okay, on to the next one. This one should be easy. There's another Savage, but he's weaker than the last one, and we didn't have much trouble with the last one. Alright, let's get buff immunity. So again, because these guys were just slightly behind on the turn meter, it gave all of them just a little bit of turn meter, but nothing to worry about, you know. We've got our exposes going fairly nicely, and like I said, this one's gonna be pretty easy. Ugh, I don't want to hit him. I want to wait until I get until I have an ability that will stun him, and ideally you would use in that case you would use fins, because it exposes and stuns, which is the ideal situation. Or as you can see, I'm using Poe's special ability, so his turn meter is going down, so it's becoming less and less dangerous to attack him. So yeah, those are the types of things you want to wait on. So let's see, I'm going to attack with BB-8. Let's see if we can get that tenacity down. There we go. Tenacity down, that's good. And then I doubt I'll even get all the way back around to BB-8, because he's the only one who's really, yeah, see, so he got to go, and he took away the stun and expose that was on Darth Maul. Not the end of the world, but we're just going to kill him so he's not an issue. And I'm not 100% sure if I can take out Darth Maul with my improvise, so to be safe, we're just not going to do it right now. And we're going to leave pretty much Count Dooku for last, because he's the one with 3 exposes on him. And we'll use our basics. There we go, 4 exposes. 4 exposes is perfect. Like I said, if there's 4 exposes, then you will definitely get 100% turn meter, even on the person who attacked. Oh, actually he didn't. See, there's something going on. That 4 exposes should absolutely be 100% turn meter by the end. I'm not sure what it is. Something like maybe the last expose doesn't count for some reason. I don't know, but there's definitely times where it's only the attacker, and like everybody could be at 0 turn meter. The attacker goes, and everybody gets 100% turn meter except for the attacker. I'm not sure what that bug is. Sith teams are pretty easy, honestly. The biggest problems are Commander Luke Skywalker led teams, Rex teams, teams with auto taunters like General Kenobi, and Chase, Chirrut, and Baze. So this is an interesting one with all of them stealth. Again, it doesn't really matter because all of them are stealthed, so I don't actually have to worry about any differences in them, just as long as I don't use Resistance Trooper's special ability, which is the only thing that dispels buffs on people. As far as I know, I think it's the only one. So this is why you don't actually want to run a full Darth Maul Zeta leader team. You want to have at least one person on the team who isn't in stealth, ideally a tank. You know, I mean, there are some, like Kylo Ren's not a bad one. He's not specifically a tank, but if he's Zeta, he can act pretty well as a tank. Just being able to recover his protection and health very effectively. So, but yeah, with everybody stealth, it doesn't really help you. So, whatever. I'm gonna wait on attacking Savage until I can get. So we'll do a stun on him now. Didn't get a stun. Oh well. And again, that's honestly probably just because he cleansed it. I don't like how much turn meter everybody's getting. And I'm not exactly sure why they are. My guys should have been going the whole time. Nobody can counter, but I'm just gonna stealth everybody anyways. Okay. Alright, there we go. Reduce turn meter. Okay, more exposes. And again, you generally want to attack the people with exposes, so let's see. Honestly, probably instead of stealthing everybody, since everybody was pretty much stealthed anyways, it might have been better just to attack with R2 in that situation. But we'll be okay. I don't like Savage. Okay. Alright. So keep popping those exposes. That looked like he didn't take any damage. I'm not 100% sure what that was, why he didn't take any damage, and why he just went. Is there... I forgot. Okay. It's not too big of a deal. I forgot that Darth Maul's Zeta ability gives them turn meter every time they avoid an attack. So I'm going to actually change up what I do here. And it's again good that we have R2-D2 because what happens is you can apply burn. I forgot that they have a higher chance to evade, which then gives them stealth. But it also gives them turn meter each time that they evade. So R2-D2's improvise can burn, and hopefully we'll get everybody. We did. And what the burn does is it deals damage each turn and minimizes chance to evade. So that's extremely good. And it's something I just completely forgot to take into account. Again, we don't have any counterattacks, so there's no reason not to, we don't have to stealth everybody. I just do it out of habit, and I wasn't thinking. So there's a good example of how, of how to handle, different teams and different metas and all that kind of stuff. And just knowing, people's kits, it helps to just know how different Zetas work, especially. So that wasn't great. I'm not overly worried about it. Poe can lose. He can honestly lose about half health, and I'm not in too much danger. That kind of stinks that Savage is out of stealth now, and so I have to attack him. But again, it's not the end of the world. He's somebody who I want to kill early, and he just avoided that attack, so he went into stealth now. So, as you can see, so again, now this time I did use my my stealth, and basically it also gives him evasion. It gives my Poe evasion, so that's another reason why using stealth is not a bad idea. Even if it seems like, why would I? Nobody's gonna counterattack. Why do I need to? So I'm probably gonna have to reset this one. I imagine that Poe's about to die. But if not, I'll keep going for now and just show you. I'm gonna use Finn's ability, which gives him and Poe health each turn, which is useful in situations like this if your Poe starts getting attacked. So yeah, I'm definitely resetting. So and see, this is what I mean, is things can just roll out of hand if you're not careful with the way that you do things. So, no biggie. We'll just restart. So I'm still going to do that burn. But we're going to try and avoid Savage completely, honestly. I'm going to leave him till the end just because he is such a pain in this specific situation. And hopefully by the end, with our AoE exposes and things, we'll have him, you know, significantly... I mean, we'll be able to just do a ton of damage to him, hopefully, by the end. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. So I do want to still attack exposes as often as I can. I probably even want to get a buff immunity on him when I can. So we're still gonna start using that stealth. And again, we're not going to use the AoE damage so much anymore because we don't want Savage just randomly attacking us. Okay. Alrighty. They're getting so much turn meter. Again, I don't often use BB-8's basic attack, but there in that situation, people just didn't have enough turn meter, and I needed to pop and expose just to make sure that everybody would be able to keep up this expose train going, basically. So, alrighty. R2's basic. So basically what I'm doing is the same thing as I've done before, where I'm getting them low, ideally with some exposes, and then once that's all set up already, that's when I'm going to start going after Savage, and hopefully we'll be able to just handle that. We'll see. Should be a little bit easier. After we got this, we have so much more damage from BB-8's thing. Right now I'm going to cleanse all of these with right there, and there we go. So we should be good now to just burn everybody, and that should take out everybody. There we go. So, you know, if you're having difficulty, you know, it's okay to restart and try new things. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I have to restart, and like, yeah, it can be really weird. Like, yeah, knowing, like, should I use my even using Poe's taunt on specific people at specific times actually has an effect on the RNG for what's going to happen. And so you can't really predict what's going to happen later on, but sometimes you have to mess a little bit with the RNG at the beginning, because technically if I do the same thing in the first few turns, you'll notice that it'll always, every result will always be the exact same, like who gets exposed and all that kind of stuff tends to be the same with the RNG. But again, it just eventually starts to snowball, so you have to kind of experiment a little bit with who you're attacking and how and all that kind of stuff. So right now I don't want to attack anybody except for General Kenobi, because he can taunt if anybody gets critically hit. So I'm just going to avoid it completely until I can get a buff immunity on him. So now with buff immunity on General Kenobi, the person I have to worry about next is Commander Luke Skywalker. And in this current stance, he gains turn meter anytime I attack a rebel. Currently on this team, the only rebel is R2-D2. So I'm not going to attack R2-D2 at all until I can daze Commander Luke Skywalker. So I'm just gonna work on Commander Luke Skywalker, and see they still get this critical hit immunity from General Kenobi's passive, but General Kenobi doesn't taunt. So again, I'm gonna just hit. Actually, I will do this, which will give Commander Luke Skywalker a bit more turn meter than everybody else because I hit R2-D2 here. But I just want that burn. Reduces evasion, which is always useful. It's obviously very useful in that last battle. But yeah, so again, we're mainly targeting exposes. I do want to work on Commander Luke Skywalker a bit. So here's a situation where I could go and hit one of these exposes, but normally with BB-8, I don't even hit exposes anyways. I believe this does give turn meter to people, but I'm just gonna try and work on getting that daze. So we have tenacity down now on him, so the next time we basic attack with BB-8, we should hopefully get a daze on Commander Luke Skywalker. Once Commander Luke Skywalker has daze, and once General Kenobi has buff immunity on this team, we don't really have to worry about anything else. In fact, I'll probably try and kill Barriss because she can. Assuming she has her Zeta, I don't know if she doesn't have her Zeta. There's not much of an issue, but if she does, then she can heal people every time I attack them, which can be super annoying. So, alright. And actually Barriss also, I don't know exactly which ability it is. I haven't looked at her kit too much, but she also gains turn meter anytime you attack somebody who's an ally. Or it's something like that. I think it might actually be every time they gain a negative status effect is what the actual thing is. So she'll slowly build up turn meter too. I'm just gonna put a stun on her, and it won't be much of an issue. Oh, and see BB-8. I should have put a daze. So I might also try and put a daze on Barriss just to keep that turn meter creep from going too far. It's usually not a problem. It's not very strong on Barriss, and so usually I get to pose taunt, and I'm able to remove turn meter long before she ever gets a chance to take a turn. And it's a pretty slow turn meter gain anyways. I don't know what it is. It's probably like 10%, 5%, something like that. Alright, let's get that daze. No daze. And so there we go. There's an example of where you could mess up. Commander Luke Skywalker in this stance always has, well, he has a 50% chance to counterattack, which is not super high, but it just means I need to be more cautious than I was there. But no biggie. Didn't end in anything, just got rid of my foresight. So not the end of the world. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's based on if they receive a negative status effect, which is why it doesn't always go up. Royal Guard, their turn meter goes up every time any ally takes damage, and Baze Malbus, his turn meter goes up anytime and one of his enemies gains a oh, they have Darth Nihilus's unique Zeta. That's why all my guys have health down right now, which doesn't matter, but Baze gains it anytime my team gains buffs, then he gains turn meter. So like on that on that R2's smoke screen there, he gains, I think it might be 50% turn meter or something like that. Not 100% sure on that, but it's quite a bit and pretty annoying, but not the end of the world. I should have tried to go after Commander Luke again. Oh well. We're doing alright. Just trying to hit those exposes. Okay. And we're going to keep, like I said, we're going to keep everybody in stealth just because of that little hitch with Commander Luke. I don't want something to happen that could be potentially detrimental. So right now nobody has turn meter, and see, I attack R2 and Luke gains some turn meter. Okay, let's try and get that daze. No daze. Whatever. So Luke is now weak enough that 2 exposes pretty much should kill him. So we're just not gonna worry too much about him. He is gaining that turn meter though again. So annoying. Okay. Barris, this will give everybody on my team tons of turn meter. Popping all 3 of those. Alright. Okay, we're gonna try one more time for days. This will probably kill him. Yeah, killed him, so who cares? Oh well. Still don't have to worry about him because he's dead. And we're not hitting enough exposes, so these guys are getting just a little bit of turn meter creep. Get rid of it there with Poe. Okay. So we're getting close to where we can AoE all of them and they'll all just die. So we want a couple exposes if we can get them on Kenobi here. At least in order for... So there's Barris. Keeps just creeping up just a little bit. And there we go. She actually cleansed herself of all of her exposes. And I'm probably going to kill her there, yeah. That's alright. So... I don't think I have enough damage to quite kill him. Okay, we're... Oh boy. I mean, again, with 2, it should be okay. Most of my guys got a fair amount. That was a pretty annoying end for that battle, but it was alright. Alright. A lot of Sith teams today. I'm not sure why that is. I don't think I've ever faced this many Sith teams. They're not meta right now. There's not been a buff to them or anything. Oh well. Should be another easy one. It's a Darth Maul lead, so we're going to have that same issue with everybody being stealth, but everybody's could be stealth, so it's not that big of an issue. Kind of moot. And then we're probably going to have the exact same issue with Savage, though. So again, I'm going to burn them just to bring their evasion down. The only person who didn't get burnt was Savage there. And see, this is kind of a problem that not ending that last battle quite right has, is that now I don't have my AoE expose, which is not good. You know, it's definitely the strongest of the exposes. Even though it's only a 65% chance, it's a 65% chance on everybody, which is pretty useful. So it's up now. All right. So yeah, we're just gonna be popping these exposes. At this point, Darth Maul will die, so I'm not gonna worry about him anymore. Yeah, 3 exposes and slightly over 50% health. So if you don't know, the different colors tell you about the percentage of health that they're at. Green means that they're above 50%, yellow means below 50%, and red means below 25%. So it's a good way to have kind of an indicator, especially when exposes specifically remove 20% health. So yeah. So it's a good way to tell. So now all I need on Darth Nihilus are 2, which there's a decent chance that I will get that before the end. So not too worried about it. You know, one thing that could happen is that as I'm attacking Savage, that Darth Nihilus's exposes get taken away. It's always a risk, but it shouldn't be too. It's not too likely, and then we'll still have plenty of exposes on the others that we shouldn't have to worry about it. So Darth Vader's getting kind of close here. We'll see. Okay. So now we want to go for Savage here. And he's going to be the biggest pain. Just want to directly attack him when we can. Ideally, we can get exposes on him. If we're not getting enough exposes, then we're going to start having turn meter creep. Already there's some here. But I think we're okay. He just took away exposes from Darth Maul. But I think this should kill him. Okay. So we'll try and apply some exposes if we can to Darth Maul. And then as soon as we have R2's AoE available, we'll use it. So there we go. Should be the end of it. Pretty easy. Okay, and so I have a broken 12 node, and you'll see what that means here. So that means this is going to be my hardest battle, which is actually not even that hard, I can tell you right now, because General Kenobi as a leader, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what his leader ability is. It's nothing that matters for resistance, so I haven't researched it too much, but yeah, if this was a Commander Luke lead with a couple more rebels, then I might have an issue. But there's no other rebels, so I don't even have to get days on Commander Luke. There's not going to be an issue of him gaining turn meter. I'll probably concentrate then on Barriss, make sure that she doesn't get any turn meter creep. And then other than that, yeah, this is going to be a really easy team. Last team for my resistance. Again, I just need to get a buff immunity on General Kenobi. And then if we can get a daze on Barriss. And yeah, that's it. Pretty easy. So buff immunity, no buff immunity. actually don't even mind. Yeah, I don't mind if he actually gets a. Again, this is going to be such an easy team that I'm not worried that he currently has that. I probably should have done my AoE there. Yeah, I might have to restart just because I didn't do my AoE. Because then I would have popped, it was 1 or 2 exposes, I think. It would have popped those extra exposes. And so let me show you kind of what I'm talking about as far as how everything will be exactly the same if I do things in the exact same order. So right now I'm going to retry and do get a buff immunity on General Kenobi, and you know my Poe is going to be my Poe is going to be the first one to go. Like, I mean, there's no doubt about it. The turn order is random, but it's consistently random, if that makes any sense. So it's always going to be my Poe. But if I basic attack, it's going to have a completely different trickle-down effect. Like, I don't remember who went after my... We'll see. Whoever went after my... Yeah, so it's Resistance Trooper. And again, he didn't get buff immunity. These two exact same people got exposed. Now, last time I attacked Darth Nihilus with exposed. This time I'm going to attack Thrawn, if it lets me click on him, with expose. So pretty much a very similar situation there, where you know he gets his taunt up. Yeah, so far it's pretty similar, except for that these two are swapped. So now I'm going to use Smokescreen this first time. And then I'm going to use Resistance Troopers Dispel, which doesn't put another expose, but it at least opens up Kenobi again. Or opens up my ability to attack people other than Kenobi, basically. So now I can get that expose. Let's again try and get buff immunity. There it is, buff immunity. Now we pretty much don't have to worry about Kenobi anymore. Yeah, we'll go after Darth Nihilus. Might as well. Okay, now we're gonna try and stop Barris's turn meter creep. If we can. Hopefully we can. So let's see if we can get a daze. Okay, daze. So now I don't have any more issues with anybody on the team. I just want to hit exposes every time. I actually have a slight issue with Commander Luke in that he can counterattack. But if I can get a stun on him, nope, no stun there. So right now I don't want to attack with Resistance Trooper because there's a chance that he'll counterattack. And he didn't have an expose on him anyway, so I wouldn't have, in a normal situation, attacked him anyways. Alright. Keep going after those exposes. And spreading out the buff immunities. Not too big of a deal. A slightly bigger deal in this team comp, just because then we can get rid of these critical chance, like that buff. Which doesn't matter too much, but it just makes it a little bit slower if you're not ever critically hitting them. But yeah. I don't like that nobody's... I need I need to get stealth on everybody again just so I can start attacking Commander Luke. Okay, let's stealth everybody. Let's go. And she's still getting... That doesn't make any sense. Why is she gaining turn meter? Say she... Her days can assist, counterattack, or gain bonus turn meter. She shouldn't be gaining any turn meter. I'm just going to kill her. Because, yeah, that should not be happening. And then also, the turn meter is not being taken away when Poe does his thing. And I'm not sure why that is. But I am going to try and... Okay, buff a me... Or... whatever that is. Tenacity down. Just going to kill her. Okay. Just want to get more turn meter up so that hopefully we can get a daze on Commander Luke. If not, it's not the end of the world because again we can no daze. Because we can pretty much just keep everybody in stealth as long as we're popping these exposes. Yeah, that was close. I don't know if I should have done this. Okay. So as long as everybody stays in stealth, then we won't have... I'm going to try it again. Dazed, yay. Okay, so with him dazed, it doesn't matter if they're stealthed or not. He can't counterattack, so... We're just going to do this. There might be a little bit of turn meter creep here because I'm not going to be able to get... When you're only targeting one person, it's really hard to get exposes constantly. So there'll be a little bit of turn meter creep, but I'm not worried about it. And here we are. We can now AoE everybody, and they all should die. There we go. So, node 12, last node, it's broken. And I'm not sure how it happens. I don't know if there's any official reason for it. But as you can see, I mean, this one seems even more broken than it normally is. Normally it's, they're at least 85. But yeah, I mean, they're always all 3-star and usually level 85. And just a totally random team. Like, there's no synergy at all with them. I don't know what it is. But it's really weird. So, it's a freebie. And it has the highest rewards. So, I had a guildmate who... He had a broken node 12, but then it got fixed, and so now, you know, his node 12 is now the hard one again, which, you know, if you're running resistance doesn't make a difference because you just handle every situation all the same, you know, just outdo them. So I'm just going to throw it on auto and it'll kill everybody. So yeah, so that's Resistance team in Galactic War. They're pretty much unbeatable. There are exceptions to things like I talked about, Ahsoka Tano, Fulcrum. Anytime you try and put an expose on her, it just disappears. She's her unique thing is she's immune to any damage over time effects, and so that includes like thermal detonators or burn or actual damage over time, things from Vader or any of those. So she's kind of annoying, but she's actually pretty weak, and you still have the advantage of being able to keep your turn meter up. So the way you handle Ahsoka Tano is you just basically just only attack her when you have multiple people to like multiple people already at 100% turn meter that can then attack somebody who has an expose on them. So I got an Omega. That's awesome. I love getting Omegas. Um, and so basically you could attack her every time with R2D2. It, as long as you don't need any of his other abilities at that point. Attack her every time with BB-8 instead of using his unique thing. And then attack her anytime you have a couple people with 100% turn meter, and you should be fine taking her out. She's not that hard. The first couple times I faced her, I was like, I have no idea what to do with her. But that's pretty much it. It's pretty easy, even with her. I mean, if the entire team was made out of Asako Tano, then yeah, you'd have some issue. But just one character is not hard to deal with. Some other teams that are hard that I talked about, a Rex team, because every time you critically strike, they all gain turn meter. A Rex led clone team, I faced one of those, and they were able to get, I think they were able to get like 2 full turns off, which is crazy. I mean, I was able to take still like 10 or 20 turns and kill them off without too much issue, but yeah. So those are pretty much the only types of situations you might come across with resistance, and even those are pretty easy. Baze and Churret, not a problem. If you're having trouble with Baze, try and get him dazed. And if you don't have BB-8, but you have Ray, if you Zeta Ray's unique, she has the ability to put daze, and I'd say that BB-8 is useful, but honestly, she can always apply daze with any of her special abilities, is what that Zeta does, and she does a ton of damage. So just get a Ray if it's going to be a while before you can get a BB-8, because the event's over. I think the event's over. I don't know. It might be still going on if you're not able to get enough first order team going. But even if you can get BB-8 at 5-star, he's just as effective. So in fact, any of these characters at any star level are able to go through Galactic War without any problem. So, alright, that's all I have to say. Yeah, have a good one.